Dear brothers and sisters, I welcome you all to hear and see this video message. In this video, I am going to explain 1966 anti-cow slaughter agitation in India. Content for this video I given in the description. You can go through and study. In ancient India, cows were neither inviolable nor revered in the ancient times. The contemporary sacredness was a result of the influence of upper caste and accompanying Sanskritisation. In post-independence, with the accumulation of political powers in the hands of conservation Savarna Brahmin elites, the Hindu Mahasabha and other allied organizations saw even more opportunity to actively solicit a total ban on cow slaughter. The secular stances of Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru, who threatened to resign if such a bill were passed, foiled the efforts. Tensions began to re-emerge in the 1960s when a new generation of Muslims born after independence and who were less aware of the trauma of religious violence in India of the 1940s reached adolescence and began to assert their rights, while Nehru began to lose his firm grip over the Indian socio-political scenario. After Nehru's death in 1964, a lobbying group set up business magnate Seth Dalmia, Murli Chandra Sharma of the Bharatiya Jan Sangh and M.S. Golwalkar of the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh for the purpose of cow production began to actively engage in open political campaigns. The topic soon penetrated into popular socio-political discourse and the group gradually added Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, Hindu Mahasabha, Akhil Rajya Parishad and Vishva Hindu Parishad and other Hindu parties. All stakeholders were subsequently invited to a meeting at Delhi in late 1965, which saw three of the four principal Shaivite, shankaracharyas and dozens of mahants and other ascetics from different religious orders promised to play integral roles in a nationwide campaign to mobilize the masses. Picketing started outside the residence of Co-Minister Golwalkar in August 1966 as a patron of the Bharat Sadhu Samaj. He was widely seen as a figure sympathetic to their cause. In October 1966, a procession in Wasim, Maharashtra, demanding a nationwide ban on cow slaughter led to a riotous situation. Police fired on the rioters, killing 11 people. There was a discussion about the issue in the Union Cabinet, which refused to concede to popular sentiments. However, Home Minister Golwalkar recommended that states might choose to introduce a ban at their discretion. This episode served as an immediate trigger for more demonstrations. On 6 November 1966, preparations were highly visible with posters plastered across the city and high-profile business houses sponsoring the meals of the archers. A total ban of all shops in Delhi was planned. Bharatiya Jan Sangh has joined the rally in the last moment and the front was named Sarvadaliya Gorakshalaya Mahabhiyan Samiti SGMS, that is Committee for the Great All-Party Campaign for the Production of the Cow. On the morning 7th November, a few 100,000 people, predominantly from the Bharatiya Jan Sangh, Hindu Mahasabha and Arya Samaj, had assembled from far-off places at an open space near the parliamentary complex. A vast majority of them were ash-smeared, trident wielding, mostly naked sadhus. In 1966, a committee for cow production, the Sarvadaliya Goraksha Mahabhiyan Samiti, called for a mass satyagraha on November 7th. The committee was headed by Prabhu Dutt, Brahmachari, a freedom fighter who had joined politics as a follower of Gandhi and had then become a religious guru with an ashram near Allahabad. In the 1951 general election, he contested against the Nehru Dutt with support from the RSS with cow production and opposition to the Hindu Code Bill as his platform. Supported by the Jana Sangh officially as well as some congressmen in their personal capacity, the November 7th Satyagraha managed to attract a massive crowd. Some estimates go up to 7 lakhs. Collecting outside the houses of parliament, the sadhus armed with spears and trishuls then tried unsuccessfully to storm the complex as the Delhi police stood their ground. Proceedings started around noon and the environment was reportedly relaxed, almost festive, with the virtues of cow being extolled. The first speaker was Karpatri. Soon after, Swami Rameswaranath, a Lok Sabha legislator and the Jana Sangh from Karnal, Punjab, who had earlier been expelled from the house for 10 days for a continual failure to abide by parliamentary decorum while urging for a ban on cow slaughter, rose to the podium. He leveraged his expulsion, asking the mob to teach a lesson by forcing the parliament to close down, while other hardline leaders served as accompanying provocateurs. Jana Sangh leader Atal Bihari Vajpayee appealed to the Swami to withdraw his call and urged the demonstrators to maintain peace, but was not heeded. Thus invited, the mob went on a rampage carrying Swami Rameswaranath Hi Jai and preached the barricades. The police responded with tear gas and gun clubs, but the resistance proved futile. As waves of demonstration armed with tridents attacked the police and belted them with stones, a policeman was stoned to death. Police were slow to respond, but at around 1:30 p.m., they engaged in rifle fire and mounted a charge with lead-tipped clubs. While the charge was successful in dispersing the immediate mob, it caused a fatal injuries, and having failed to succeed in breaching the parliament gates, the mob merely scattered to attack other less protected areas of Delhi. Houses of prominent legislators from the ruling party Indian National Congress, including that of K. Kamaraj, were broken into. Passengers were forced out of vehicles before being set on fire. High-profile government buildings were ransacked, and random arson was indulged in. Incited by the rabble-rousing Bharatiya Jan Sangh, MP Swami Rameswaranath, who represented Karnal in undivided Punjab, the huge crowd marched towards the Parliament House complex with a clear intent to storm it. Finding the gates closed, the agitationists launched a free-for-all attack on government buildings on Parliament Street. The Congress President K. Kamaraj, who was in his house nearby, had a narrow escape. The riot ended at around 4:30 p.m. with a death toll of 8 and hundreds injured. The total damage was estimated at about 1 billion rupees by city officials. Numerous vehicles were destroyed along with numerous shops. A curfew was imposed for 48 hours but withdrawn the next morning. The army was deployed for the first time, and a law concerning unlawful assembly was imposed for an indefinite time span. About 1,500 demonstrators, including over 500 ascetics and prominent leaders of Hindu nationalist parties and SGMS, were arrested. A few days later, Palraj Mathok, Rameswaranath and other prominent functionaries of RSS and Jan Sangh were arrested on the charges of stoking the riots. The Lieutenant Governor describing the rioting as highly organized intelligence agencies had failed to predict the situation. The extent of the violence was the most significant since the partition riots. Vajpayee condemned the riots and blamed the undesirable elements for the violence, saying that it had harmed a pious cause. Bible talks about this agitation in Proverbs chapter 20 verse 3 and Proverbs 29 verse 8. People who refuse to argue deserve respect. Any fool can start an argument, and proud people who laugh at what is right cause problems that divide whole cities, but people who are wise are able to calm those who are angry.